Cassie here? Not sure. No, it's kind of going to be like an introduction to flows. Yeah. Okay, so I think I'm going to get the party started. Feel free to come closer. I know we were all kind of spread out from that wonderful keynote, but if you like, I don't bite, I promise. Thank you very much. That was like the most Canadian interaction ever. Just they're like, no, you go. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you go. Okay. Yeah, exactly, right? Okay, so thank you for joining me. My session today is finding your tribe, connecting with the Trailblazer community and beyond. And I have to say, like, I did not know the topic of either Chris or Leah's keynotes, but it actually is going to cover a lot of the stuff, well, in the similar line. And also, this is my first ever presentation by myself, so be kind. Thank you. So, of course, with all of our presentations, we start with saying thank you to our wonderful sponsors, because truly, I mean, as one of the organizers, as I know you know, this event would not happen without them. So if you've got a couple more booths you haven't visited yet, please, if you have the time, go and visit them. It's because of their support that we can be able to do these wonderful events. So thank you very much to all of our sponsors. So a little intro about me. I know some of you know, but for those that don't, so I'm Zarina Varley Scott. I moved here from Australia about nearly 8 years ago. Came here for one year, and then I met a boy, and you know how it goes. Yes, I put some alternative facts there for you because you don't need me to read what I'm going to put up on screen about me. I'm a solo admin for a mid-market private equity firm in Toronto. A lot changed for me when I attended Trailhead DX 18 last year, which I'm going to get to that in a second. And since then, I became the leader of the Toronto Women in Tech group, a lightning champion, and I joined the wonderful team that organized this event. And as some of you probably noticed, I was given this very special garment at this year's World Tour. Thank you. Really just over a year after I first started getting involved with the community, which is crazy. So you might be wondering, how did that kind of happen so quickly? Well, I have one. So, okay, yes. You can see me here at TDX. I knew no one, so all I had people to take photos with were the mascots, right? It's true. And then not too long, well, a year later, word at the Golden Hoodie. So how did that happen? One simple answer, the Trailblazer community, really and truly. I attended this session that was led by Allison, who was just up on stage here, and Bhavana, who couldn't be with us today. And it was that session that changed a lot for me. I learned about the community and getting involved, and I kind of fell in love with the whole thing. And so it really was this session that changed so much for me. And then you'll also see I kind of started interacting there a little bit. There's a bit of a chain going on there, and that really began the beginning of kind of what I wanted to talk about today. And to give you a little bit more background information about finding your tribe, or squad, probably should have renamed it after yesterday, but tribe it is. So right actually before World Tour, I was on a bus tour in South Korea with my parents, because Australia, Canada kind of meet halfway in the middle there. And we got on the bus on our first morning, and the other people that were on the tour, they wanted nothing to do with us. They were rude, they talked over us, they just made it very clear that they were not interested in mingling with us at all. And we were like, oh my God, how are we gonna get through the next 4 days? This is gonna be hell. But then, after lunch, the other half of our tour joined up. They'd been doing a separate thing, and we all kind of came together. And instantly, the whole dynamic changed. We were all kind of helping each other out. We were spending time together, we were getting each other snacks, and it really kind of struck home for me the importance of finding your tribe wherever you are, in whatever circumstances, because it's those people that you connect with that are really going to lift you up and just make every experience you have that much better. So I'd thought about just doing a blog post on this, zazmataz.ca for those of you that are interested. But then the whole, hoodie thing happened, and I was like on this emotional high from everything and having my tribe there with me on the day, and I was like, yeah, cool, there's 10 minutes left to submit a session from TND, sure. And then I wrote it and went, oh my God, how am I going to do that? Okay. But then it was picked, and so here I am sharing my story. So, finding your tribe or your squad. What do I mean by that? I mean talking about forming meaningful relationships. As I said, finding those people that are going to empower you. They're going to be your champions. They're going to be your mentors. They're going to be a lot of things to you, but it's going to be something meaningful. And it's not going to happen overnight, baby steps and all that, but it's what I'm really trying to get to the point here is making those meaningful relationships and those meaningful connections. And of course, this community is amazing. So for my Salesforce tribe here, this is a photo from Trailblazer Day, and controversial topic, I'm not going to talk about that. But I know you all know this, but just to kind of reiterate the sort of people that you can find to be what that means to be part of your Salesforce or your Trailblazer community tribe. Well, for starters, they're your tech support. They are they're your person to bounce ideas off. They are your champions. They are your mentors. They are your potential future employers, your potential future employees. And then if you're lucky, become your friends. And then if you're extra lucky, they might even become your spouse. Fun fact, I'm not sure if you knew, but Sarah and Scott on our team are married. And they have a baby and another one on the way. So there you go, all from the connections you make in the community. So I guess this is kind of the why. So then, the how. How do you find your tribe? And no, I'm not going to kind of read to you from Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, though this is kind of not that far off. How do you find your tribe? Well, a lot of the time it's going to be accidental, and that's great. We meet people all the time, and it can blossom into something. But sometimes you need to set out to start finding the people because they're not coming to you or whatever opportunities. So, I mean, the internet is a great place. Not in general, but we obviously have the Trailblazer Community, success.com, success.salesforce.com, Twitter, if you're not on Twitter. Like, the Salesforce community is huge on Twitter, so check it out. And then all the other social media resources. But I'm talking about, like, just finding someone. So you're not all of a sudden going to go and shoot someone a LinkedIn message straight away. No, we need to hone in and maybe be like, oh, that person seems kind of cool. But, so you're finding them online, you're finding them in person. Now, you could be attending your Trailblazer group, Trailblazer community group, which I hope, if you are not a part of one of them, that you certainly will want to join after today. We have some wonderful group leaders here with us. And of course, then there's stepping it up once again, events like this one, which I know is a new thing to Canada, but we definitely want to, we've had everyone I know has had I'm hoping, has had a great time and have been connecting with people, identifying newcomers to your tribe. And then, and of course, there's the bigger Salesforce events as well, Dreamforce and whatnot. But I gotta say, this here is my favorite place to connect with people and find your tribe. So I hope, if you haven't had a chance yet, that you maybe, have a little chat with someone afterwards. And I'm not just talking about, identifying I am talking about identifying those people and what is called an intentional relationship, which is something that is done a lot in the workplace because it has to be. But it's done, like this is the sort of relationships I'm talking about are intentional relationships, which is a meaningful connection, but it is something you're setting out to do. So I know I've already mentioned Allison and Bhavana, who gave that wonderful session at TDX last year. Well, this were the exchange of messages afterwards. And it really, I was watching Chris's session going, oh my God, like I'm talking about all of this, I hope. So I clearly kind of was respectful, and I sent her a message being like, hey, was really hoping we could stay in touch. And of course, she was very willing. But the thing about this is you have to go into it knowing that you have to be willing to give something in return. It can't all be take. And sure, I know when we're trying to build relationships and we're learning, and we do need things from people. That's why we're building these relationships. Just remember that you have to give something in return. And sure, if you're reaching out to someone for technical support, chances are you're not going to be able to give them the same level of technical support back. That's totally fine. But there are plenty of other things that you can offer. And I can't tell you what they are, but I can tell you with Bhavana. So sometimes I reach out to her for technical support. She is an application architect now. But then when we went to New York World Tour together, I did all the travel bookings because she doesn't like doing that. So just keep in mind, think outside the box. There are plenty of other ways that you can contribute to a relationship that's not like tat for tat. Okay, so we've identified some people we want to connect with. And how do you kind of then take that a little further? And no, if Mark Benioff did send me a LinkedIn request, I probably wouldn't ignore it. This is not real. I just wanted to use this as an example, and this is actually, Chris talked about this and hit the nail on the head. Do not send someone a LinkedIn request with no context and no message, because I've started getting them a lot now, and I've had to be like, we have no mutual connections, you've never said anything to me, I don't know who you are, sorry, ignore. So one way to stand out from the crowd when you are trying to build your tribe is sending a personal message. I can't stress that enough. Because you can't take a relationship from 0 to 100 straight away. You kind of got to like work it a bit. And by providing some context and making it personal, like you're going to really kind of stand out from the crowd there. And it's not just about connecting. There are so many other pieces that go with this. And I love this quote here from amazing community member Jessica Langston from David Liu's session at Your Dreamin'. Giving back is the most selfish thing you can do. I don't think you can get better ROI than by giving back. That's 100% true. And I don't have a photo of me with David, so I wanted to include the wonderful Alex from our team here. It's not just about showing up and attending. It's about stepping up. It's about saying, hey, maybe I can volunteer. In fact, I know there are some of you here that during this event have approached me and the other team members and said, how can I help? Like, is there any shifts I can take? And trust me, those relationships you're gonna make by doing that is exactly what I'm talking about here. It's volunteering at events, be it this one or other ones, or volunteering at your local community group. And I personally have really got to know some of the wonderful people on our team from volunteering together, and we have our squad going on, and that's just because of the connection we've made from volunteering together for this event. So think about how you can give back and how you can lift others, lift as we climb, as Chris would say. And then stepping outside of your comfort zone, another very important thing. Because if you don't try that, you're not going to grow as a person, or you're not going to be able to grow your network. If you're kind of only thinking about it from where you currently are, you have no room to grow. And I mean, that's a very broad kind of statement to say, stepping outside your comfort zone. It could be as simple as something as sending a tweet to someone. I know that for a lot of you that might sound like not that big of a deal, but when you're just getting started and you're building your network, yeah, that is a big deal. It's doing some of the other things that I've talked about, like maybe signing up to speak, or speaking at a community group, speaking at a community conference, or submitting a session for Dreamforce. There are many, many ways that you can step outside your comfort zone based on where your comfort levels are with things. But just remember that if you don't step out of your comfort zone, then you won't grow. And the thing is, the great thing about this community, and I'm sure Tiffany will tell you, is that we'll catch you if you fall. We all have a vested interest in having each other's back. So if you try, you put the effort in, you guarantee that we'll help you. So don't be scared. As following through. Now, again, I swear I did not know any of the content that Chris was going to be talking about, but here it is again. Aaron, the golden child himself, he literally has a billboard of him up in San Francisco at the moment. And we were at the same boot camp together at TDX, and man, that was interesting. Both of us sitting, anyway, that's another presentation. But he gets hundreds and hundreds of LinkedIn requests with no context. Well, with some context, but he told me he's been getting like a lot of messages from people. He's so visible. But he can't spend all day responding to people. So he sent out this kind of blanket, hey, I'm sorry I can't respond to you, but here's what I suggest. And sure, this is one example, but by following through, I mean, like if you have maybe met someone at an event and it's, oh, hey, yeah, we've exchanged numbers or emails or whatever on Swap Card, I'll send you an email. Send them an email. Like, it's following through that really kind of puts you ahead of the pack. And I know that we're all busy. We all say that, oh yeah, I'll send you that file that we talked about, or I'll send you that link we talked about later. And then you kind of are like, well, man, I really should send that message. Take the 10 seconds to be like, hey, I'm really busy, I haven't forgotten, but I'll get to it. Showing like that you can fulfill a promise is a huge deal and will really, really help you kind of form these relationships and nurture them. Sorry, I caught some really wicked bug when I was in TDX, in San Francisco for TDX, and I'm still like on the tail end of the cough. It's been brutal. And I haven't been able to shut up, so yeah. So yes, following through, very important, following through on your promises. This one was a late addition, but showing gratitude. And this is actually probably one of the most important ones. I don't know why I hadn't thought about it later. So this tweet from Liz, who I'm not sure if, she was the one hosting the WIT panel yesterday, and she had a session today on admins or critical change agents. But we saw a keynote from Leah at last year's Witness Success, which is essentially like Women in Tech Dreamin'. And she talked about how wherever she travels, she always brings thank you cards with her. And we all were like, oh, okay, always bring thank you cards. And I have been on this, and Liz, to her strength, she gave me one today. I haven't read it yet, but she did. And so it's about acknowledging the people that have done something for you, whether it's big or small. In this day and age, we're all so connected. And sure, maybe you can't write a handwritten note, but you all have thank you cards literally in the palm of your hands. The difference, a quick thank you text, even just like a emoji or whatever, to show that person respect and gratitude and that you're thinking about them is huge. I always make a point, if I can, of DMing someone if they've happened to do something amazing, and I don't want to make this whole big thing of it on social media, but just remember that showing gratitude is one of the foundations of building having a meaningful connection and building an intentional relationship. And then it's paying it forward. And another great message from another person that was mentioned in Chris Duarte's session, Eric Dreschfield. And this is why he is such an exemplary member of our community. He does this every day. He gives back to the people that have helped him get where he was, but he takes it further. So you best believe when we decided, hey, we're going to do a Dreamin' event in Canada, he was the first person in line to help us. And the same for all the other ones. He's always 100% there for the community. And so is everyone else. Because the thing is, you can make these relationships yourself. You can set out to connect with someone, but you can't control who's going to want to connect with you. And so you have to be respectful of that, and you have to think, okay, how would I like to be treated if I was doing this to someone else? And sure, maybe you've sent out a few messages to people that have gone, have not gotten a response. But break the cycle. Don't just kind of think, oh, well, so-and-so didn't respond to me, so I'm just going to not respond to that person. Break the cycle and really think about how you would want to be treated if you were new to this community and you were trying to kind of grow your network. And this is a very important one, and I know I struggle with it, and I'm sure others do. Sometimes you got to remember that it's not about you. Maybe you're trying to connect with someone and it's not working, but maybe it's not that they're not interested, it's that they don't have the bandwidth to take that on. If you connect with someone, you're putting the ball in their court, and you have to be respectful of the decision that they make. If they can't take that on, you have to be okay with that. And if you know you're not going to be okay with that, then you really can't just message someone and expect demand a reply, because it's probably not going to work out that great. And I know this is hard, and I know we all struggle with it, but just remember, if you can, it's not always about us. And of course, I mentioned the and beyond. So a lot of this has been in the context of Salesforce and the Trailblazer community, but I mean, there's no reason why you can't do this at work. You know, send off a quick message to someone who gave a great presentation at work. Hey, really enjoyed your presentation, thought you did a great job. Speaking a lot to what, again, Chris and Leah mentioned, lifting each other up. Even if it's, just taking 10 seconds to show some gratitude to someone that you have a connection with in another avenue, really, really can make a difference for them as well. And so here's the thing that's going to tie all of this together. You have to be your authentic self. Oh.
Sorry, do you want questions at the end, or can we ask it?
Would you mind if we did that at the end? Yeah, awesome, okay. So being your authentic self, and I can't stress this enough. This should tie all of this together. And these quotes here, so this is The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. It's a great book that covers a lot of what we're talking about. This community is so amazing because they accept me as the kind of crazy person that I am, the person that dressed up as Appy at Dreamforce, and that wanted to have a beaver as the mascot for an event. Like, shout out, yes, Gord. And that's Gord as in Gord Downey, like the lead singer of the Tragically Hip.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Some people thought Pumpkin, but no, Gord, yeah. Gord Downey and Gordie Howe, that's why. That was a Sarah. The name was Sarah, the beaver was me. But anyway, back to this. If you are trying to make a connection and trying to accept connections that are coming to you, trying to volunteer, or any of the things that I've talked about, if that is not who you are, if you're forcing that, it's not going to work out. You have to do what is authentic to you. So if you don't like making small talk with someone, or you don't like volunteering, then don't do those things. Or find your own way to be able to do that, and to be able to give back, and to be able to lift people up. Because we've unfortunately seen it where their intentions are not pure. And yes, I know, but how do I get ahead then if I'm not interested in volunteering and I want to pretend? Well, I mean, you can certainly try to do that, but who knows what will happen? Chances are your intentions will be found out, and yeah, it might not go well. So be your authentic self in whatever context that means to you. Think about what is the best to you. Don't pretend to be someone that you're not, and don't try and hide things about your personality. Well, some things about your personality. No, I'm kidding. Don't try to be someone you're not if you're trying to make a connection with someone, because you don't want that to be based on a lie. You want them to accept you for who you are truly, not by who you're pretending to be on that one given day. And so, I am a massive superhero fan, as some of you may or may not know, and I did just see Spider-Man. It's really, really good, by the way. Go and see it. No spoilers for anyone that's already seen it. And because also I have an Uncle Ben, who's my favorite uncle, I wanted to leave today with this great quote. With great power comes great responsibility. And that's true. So say someone like myself who's been given a bit more visibility in the community, what am I going to do? Am I going to make it all about me? No, I'm not. I'm going to try and lift up those people around me. I'm going to work people into my presentation that I want to be able to shine a light on, because that's the right thing to do. And I want to be able to share my achievements with people and hopefully get them to be able to grow and achieve whatever they want to achieve. And so here's my little wrap up. We're talking about intentional relationships, meaningful connections, so make sure to take it further. Step outside your comfort zone, follow through, show your gratitude, pay it forward. Remember, it's not always about you. Be your authentic self, and of course, have fun. And this photo here there's Allison and Bhavana that I mentioned. There's Alex and my good friend Vanessa. And these are people, some of them, that are my tribe. These are the people that I've been able to do all this stuff with and who I know are there for me in a professional context or otherwise. So with that, I have a couple of resources. I mentioned joining your local Trailblazer community group if you haven't done that. And here's a link to community conferences. At this stage, there's only one in Canada. Hopefully, there'll be more, but we will be back next year. The 4 agreements and how to win friends and influence people, because I did mention that, are some great resources. Also, the Salesforce Admins podcast is actually where I find a lot of people that I want to connect with. Seriously, I will listen and be like, wow, that person was so incredible, and send them a Twitter message or something and be like, hey, I was so inspired by your session. I'd love to connect. You never know where you're going to find them. And so with that, I will say thank you and turn it over to any questions. Oh. Yeah, you had a question?
Okay, my name is Ashley. I'm new to the Salesforce ecosystem. I've only been working with Trailhead for about 4 months. Sorry.
Yes, welcome, Ashley. Ikomamai.
I have a lot of questions, kind of regarding just how to go about being a part of the ecosystem, but also be fully transparent with your employer, because as much as you're reaching out and you're making those connections and you're being authentic to yourself, you're also representing a brand that's a lot bigger than you. Mm-hmm. So at what point does your blog post become yours? And if you're doing that during work hours, is it theirs?
That's a great question. I mean, it's going to obviously depend on you and your employer. Like if you have set working hours and they're very clear about you're not allowed to do this stuff in work hours, don't do it in work hours. But maybe if your company has a blog or something and you're writing for them, then that's great. Like for me personally, I don't really talk about my company in my blog because it's not really something that they're super interested in. So I mean, I spend my lunch hours and after hours during my community stuff. But that's just a sacrifice. It's not. I don't want to say it's a sacrifice you have to make because I'm not sacrificing anything. Like what I'm getting in return is amazing. But it's just if you have the time to be able to do it, that's great. And if you don't, don't do something that's going to get you in trouble with work, essentially.
So the only way I kind of really see it is should I start?
The only I kind of seem like it feels like it because it's yours. You almost need to start your own business, but you don't have any money or resources. You need to work, but where is the difference? Do you have to do it on the weekends and at night?
It's really up to you and what works for you. I'm sure Alex is actually going to be a really good person for you to talk to, being as you work.
So full disclosure, Ashley is working for my company.
Yeah, exactly.
But she just joined. We're not on the same team. So for myself, I can't do that during my work hours. I've been logging 60 hours for the past couple of months, just straight work. So you might say I'm sacrificing my weekends and my personal life and my evenings, but I'm really not, because this is what I want to do. So I wanted to be part of this event, and I'm going to stay after work to have a 2-hour call with Zarina and TND team.
Oh, that sounds really extreme. It's not usually that bad, is it?
I would love it, That's not I don't want to do anything else at that point. If I want to advance my knowledge, I still can do my Trailhead badges during my work time. So if I want to prepare for the certification, I'm doing it evenings, weekends. Sometimes, long weekend doesn't mean out of the city trip for me. Means, I'm logging to Trailhead and, putting my head into books. So, and for the blog, I have my own blog. I know Zarina has hers. So if you're writing about a company, I would say, it's theirs. But if you're writing about what you learned outside of them, it's yours. If you're doing it your own time, it's your own blog, you're financing, or you're just having a free blog post, again, it's yours.
And don't feel that you need to have all the answers to these questions right now. We can always reach out and people will help you, but it'll kind of happen organically. So don't worry about that too much just yet. Do you have another question, or does anyone else have questions? Oh.
Hi, Zarina. It's Nick. I loved your presentation. Honestly, though, feedback for you. Excellent job.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, I like how you. I feel like anyone, if they come in with the right humble attitude, it doesn't matter if it's presentation 1 or 100. You're just able to connect with the audience. So that was
Thank you very
awesome.
much. Really appreciate that.
I just wanted to make 2 comments.
Okay.
Alex actually pointed this out, but the way I interpreted the question that Ashley made, I guess, was the right way. Trying to find your own identity within Salesforce, I feel like if your values align, as hopefully they do, you are part of something bigger than you.
Absolutely.
And there have been times in history where this has happened, over and over, and it's not feeling, it's lying in bed, and the bed being everyone kind of holding you up, as opposed to, going on a rock or sleeping or something, So, and I love what Alex said about, Leah mentioned yesterday, kicking down the door every morning with passion. Like that's what Alex was talking about right there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Actually, I don't know if I just really enjoyed it.
Well, thank you.
I don't think I have a question ultimately.
Hi, it's Virginia. I actually met you in the kitchen party last
Oh,
Friday.
yes,
I was
yes.
incognito because I was in an
Oh,
open
of
plan
course,
office and I
right.
couldn't open my laptop because you would have seen loads of other people doing interesting things. But anyway,
We appreciate that.
I was just wondering. I've been trying to get involved for about the last year and a half or so, and I just, in some respects, find it a bit overwhelming how much there is to get involved in. Because you mentioned the community events and that, and I have joined a community, but I haven't really done too much in it. Haven't managed to make to any of the events for other reasons. But I'm probably one of the strange animals. I'm not on Twitter. I don't make bird noises. I don't do that. So how much of getting involved requires you to really expand all these different things?
Well,
or
Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, is it sort of enough to sort of get involved in certain areas, but are you really missing out by not doing everything?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, so I have a lot of thoughts on that question, and that is a very, very valid question. For starters, you can't do it all. You can try, but then, you might have to stay up all night to finish something, or you have to do what, like I said, what is authentic to you. And if you're a little shy, you might not want to jump in straight away and do all the things. But what it comes down to is you can't do everything. You have to find what works for you. And sure, you've got to branch out a little bit, but don't feel that you need to push yourself too hard just yet. And just also remember that if you're saying no to something, as Leah said yesterday, or I think it's Chris's quote, your no is someone else's yes. So you don't have to say yes to everything. Just do what is true to yourself, and then it will kind of make its own trail for you, really. Does that help?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, as I said, I was just sort of wondering, how much would you actually plan not going on Twitter? Am I actually missing a big section of something that's going on versus just participating in the community or on the online things?
I mean, that is a very valid question. Yeah, we do talk about Twitter a lot. I mean, a lot of stuff happens on LinkedIn too, and obviously the chatter, the Trailblazer Community chatter as well is where a lot of that stuff happens. But if you're just not interested in Twitter, you don't have to be. You don't have to get in there. There are, Salesforce uses all sorts of social media, and also there are emails and stuff that goes out. And I mean, if you can come to a meeting every once in a while, that's great too. But if you're choosing to not participate, that's 100% fine. You don't have to do any of that. If you don't want to, if that's not who you are, it's totally okay. Your path is your path. It's not for anyone else to tell you what you have to do. You make that yourself. Welcome.
I have a comment on that. I was just
Okay. I am definitely on social media, and I know it's not for everyone, because being an influencer, maybe you don't want to talk on a stage, but I would suggest making a public post saying, I'm not interested in that social, is anyone else in the same boat? And then you could have a Skype meeting, and that would be your community, because you have that in common, you're not missing out if you find people that you have the same interests with, right? Yeah.
And we are going to continue with the kitchen parties throughout the year as a great way to keep everyone connected and that's another great way to attend if you can't, if you're virtual as well.
That was my question. Can you tell us more about the kitchen party for the people who didn't attend?
Yeah, sure. So a kitchen party sounds made up. I realize that. It's actually, it's a terminology from Atlantic Canada, which is pretty much like a house party, but they do it in the kitchen, and it's like, bring alcohol, bring food, bring a musical instrument, yeah, lots of fun. And of course, as you know, for this event, we've been trying to make it as Canadian as possible. So we've been naming everything after things that kind of sound Canadian. And when we were trying to come up with a name rather than just True North Dream and Virtual Meetup, some of our teammates, right? No, that was not going to happen. Our teammates were like, what about Kitchen Party? So we named it Kitchen Party, and we had one, was that last Friday? Dude, that was not last Friday. Anyway, we had 25 people register, and we had 21 people on the call, which is really cool. And we were all just chatting about, well, yeah, you, of course, some of you were there. We chatted about ourselves, like we gave an introduction and looking forward to coming to the event, or maybe why I'm coming versus why I'm not going to Dreamforce, or why I can't be there. And it's just a great, it's like a virtual community group meeting. And it's a good way if you don't want to, you know, if you don't want to go in person, it's a nice way to do that, and yeah, to kind of get you all connected in another way that we didn't have up here in Canada before.
And where do you find the information to spend all?
Great question. So we will be posting on our website when the next one is going to be. We're going to take a little bit of a breather after today, just. And so I'm hoping to do them every month to maybe every 2 months, depending on how demand is. But just watch our website. You may get an email if you're a subscriber. Check socials too. We'll be posting about that as well. Any other questions? Okay. So with that, I'm just going to say thank you so much for not just coming to my session, but for coming to this event. Like, it really means so much to me and to the other wonderful team members here that, like, you chose to come and learn from us, and it just, like, I've been crying, like, all day.
I just have a question, like, we have, like, a minute or so.
Sure.
What does the sweater mean?
The golden hoodie. I mean, it's a major award. No, sorry, to quote, that was something that Liz Hellinger said. I mean, I don't want to say I have a bit of imposter syndrome around it. It still doesn't feel real. But it is the official answer, I believe, is someone that's like inspired their community and really kind of given back. Yeah.
There's only 2 in all of Canada.
Yes. That's true. So if you have any more questions or want to say hi, like, please do. I'm going to be around, and I know I'm kind of not that difficult to miss when I'm wearing this. But again, thank you very much, and I'm going to hand it, I know we have a little bit of time in between, and then the next session, fantastic flows and where to find them. I mean, come on. Come on. Come on. So thanks.